As an exemplar of the new generation of safe, economical, green, capable and, most important, practical battery electric cars, i.e. all-electric, not hybrid, the Volkswagen ID. 5 GTX has a lot to be said for it. Before we get into the news, make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below about your thoughts on the Volkswagen ID. 5 and whether you will consider purchasing the vehicle. The ID. 5 is based on the VW ID. 4 compact crossover SUV, but now with a cut-down roof and coupe lines to widen its appeal. I have to say that it's not the handsomest beast on the road in that regard. The latest retro-styled Hyundai Ioniq 6 is much the most distinctive and attractive shape around, and it's not that much more of an aesthetic improvement on the ID. 4, though there's no real penalty in rear load space and versatility, which is good, the upside of its boxy proportions. I guess the problem, if such it is that the VW ID family of vehicles are basically quite chunky, bulky-looking things, with the exception of the ID Buzz. Of course, their nostalgic people carrier/1960s microbus take on the concept. Nice as it is, an ID. 5 isn't going to start a commotion. Perhaps a little embarrassing for intragroup rivalry, the Skoda Enyaq coupe plunks a more pleasing-looking shape atop the common VW Group platform. For all its curves, stunning alloy wheels and contrasting black roof, the ID. 5 doesn't make much of an impact. That about sums up the VW ID. 5, though I don't mean to damn it with faint praise. It's not breathtakingly better at any particular thing than the increasingly intense competition that surrounds it, but it does everything quite well, and I stress in EV terms, is solid value for money. For many potential customers that is more than good enough. From an established brand you may be assured that the build quality is excellent, unlike some trendier rivals, and as a European-based brand there shouldn't be too many geopolitical risks involved, provided they can establish more capacity for manufacturing electric vehicle componentry in Europe rather than China. Electric cars make the most sense generally in both economic and environmental terms if they are used freely and retained in good condition for a fairly long time, and we may have to get used to holding on to our cars for longer than the current 3-year leasing cycle in our greener world. Fortunately, longevity is, of course, a traditional VW virtue. So is a nice, habitable, driver-friendly cabin, and the ID. 5 reflects another fairly consistent VW tradition, which is a preference for rather sober dark interiors. The VW ID. 3, by contrast, did wow its customers with its fresh, light, and airy feel to the interior, and some of its control features are replicated here, too. I especially like the twist-and-go dial for the automatic gear selector at the top of the instrument pod. The VW touchscreen is as technically impressive as it can be practically irritating to try and use, and I really wonder whether the craze for giant touchscreens with complex menus and oversensitive reactions has gone a bit too far in modern cars. I also have a nagging doubt about how well these things will be working after, say, 15 years in use, compared to the sturdy buttons and switches on a trad Golf or Passat. We shall see. In terms of performance and engineering, and as a top-of-the-range offering, the GTX version of the ID. 5 is also quite impressive. You get a pretty big battery pack, which gives you a wide spectrum of choices, extremely long range in economy mode, or brisk performance in the sportiest of settings. This is even more useful than it might sound when you remember that an electric car on a long motorway journey on a cold day really does need all the help it can get to maximize its efficiency, but you also want it to accelerate when you need it to, and not just at the lower speeds electric vehicles always excel at. The GTX is also equipped with a kind of four-wheel drive system with twin electric motors on each axle, all complemented with clever electronics to deliver smooth, assured performance. The only thing I can really fault the ID. 5 GTX version for is that it doesn't quite live up to the promise of a GTX badge. It's just not that fast, and there's no sense of occasion attached to it, in the way there is with its petrol-powered Golf GTI cousin. It needs to be a little more involving, but, as I say, for many it's simply a modern, highly competent, VW electric car, and that's more than enough. The Volkswagen ID. 5 is perhaps the weakest link in VW's growing lineup of electric cars. Costing roughly £5,000 more than the equivalent Tesla Model Y, the ID. 5's cheap-feeling interior and relatively gutless powertrains do little to live up to its premium price. It's not without its merits, though. The Volkswagen ID. 5 boasts a strong range figure that's easy to achieve in normal driving. Despite the sloping roofline, it isn't much less practical than the ID. 4 SUV, either. Regardless, we think there are better options out there at this price point, with the Škoda Enyaq coupe offering even more space and a plusher interior for less. Simply put, the Volkswagen ID.5 is essentially a sleeker version of the rather blob-shaped Volkswagen ID.4. Sitting above the ID.3 hatchback and below the ID.7 saloon in the lineup, the ID.5 acts as a rival for other electric coupe SUVs such as the Genesis GV60, Volvo C40, Škoda Enyaq Coupe and Audi Q4 Sportback e-tron, with the latter two sharing their underpinnings with the VW. While the ID.4 is available with two battery sizes, ID.5 buyers are stuck with the larger 77 kWh unit. This is available with Pro Performance and High Performance GTX powertrains. The former produces 172 brake horsepower from its single electric motor, gets from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 10.2 seconds and has a claimed range of up to 327 miles. The Pro Performance, as its name suggests, provides a bit more poke. With 201 brake horsepower on tap, this will reach 62 miles per hour in 8.4 seconds and matches the Pro's 327-mile range figure. Topping the lineup is the high-performance GTX. We've reviewed this model separately. Unlike lesser models in the range that are rear-wheel drive, the GTX gets two electric motors for four-wheel drive and a combined output of 295 brake horsepower, with the sprint to 62 miles per hour taking a little over 6 seconds. As for the Pro and Pro Performance models, both are available in style and tech trim levels. Standard equipment is strong, even on the base style car. All ID.5 models get matrix LED headlights, a 12-inch infotainment touchscreen with Sat-NAV, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, tri-zone climate control, a wireless smartphone charger, a panoramic sunroof, a reversing camera and a host of other driver aids. Stepping up to tech trim adds electric front seats, a 360-degree camera, a powered bootlet and a head-up display. Doing so costs around $3,500, so we recommend sticking with the base style specification as this contains almost everything most drivers will need. It's just a shame that you have to pay an extra $1,000 for an energy-efficient heat pump. This is designed to help take the strain off the air conditioning system in the winter months, helping you to get closer to the car's official claimed range. That is it for today's news on the Volkswagen ID.5. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe.